Hello, everybody. Pastor Mike here again with another Monday motivation. For people who know me, this comes as no surprise, but my absolute favorite hobby outside of church and family is disc golf. I play it all the time. I love disc golf so much, I even allowed a Boy Scout here within our church to build for his Eagle Scout project a disc golf course right in the church's backyard, right in our property through the woods. It's incredible. We play it all the time. Now, as you can see behind me, there's several discs, and there's something special about those discs. Those are the discs that I got really lucky with and got hole-in-ones. And so my personal tradition is once I throw a disc for a hole-in-one, then I retire that disc and I hang it on the wall. So starting with this little beauty right here, that was my very first one, I started working my way down the wall. Well, last Friday, I got hole-in-one number 8 with this little beauty right there. My Discraft Jawbreaker Zone. That's right there. Now, this disc is one of the few I didn't really go out and buy at a store. You see, last fall, I was playing with some friends, and we were out at one of the local disc golf courses, and I took a drive. I threw my first shot way off course, and it went deep into some brush. So I went over there kind of frustrated and angry that I threw such a bad shot, and I was digging through the brush, hoping I didn't get bit by a snake or something like that. And as I'm finding my disc, I happened to find that one. So I was like, hey, free disc. Now, disc golf etiquette is if somebody's name is on it and a phone number, a lot of times they ink it on the back, and you send them a text or give them a phone call and see if it was theirs to begin with or whatever. If they claim it, you somehow get it back to them. Now, I've lost disc, and I've had my name and number on them before, and people have called me, and maybe they've been, in a different town or kind of far away, and I've just said, you know what, just keep the disc. Sometimes I've found disc, and I'll call people, and they'll say, yeah, I love that disc back. That was my favorite disc. And I somehow work out a way to return it to them. This disc had no name and number. I searched the local message boards around that disc golf course, and nobody posted anything about losing a disc. And so after some time, hey, finders keepers. So I started playing with that disc, and quickly it became my favorite disc. It was a disc that I played with all the time. In fact, there were some rounds that was the only disc I played with. I love that disc. Well, last Friday, I'm playing with my family, my wife, my oldest son, a couple of friends. We're staying 6 feet apart, so don't worry. We're out there and we're playing some disc golf. Very first hole I get up, I grab that little baby, I give her a whirl, right in the basket. Hole-in-one. It was amazing. But it's bittersweet because as my tradition has it, as I said, I hang up my hole-in-ones on my wall. So I had to retire her. Well, I was telling a friend about it this past weekend, about how I got this hole-in-one and with this disc. And his friend reminded me. He said, you wouldn't have ever had that disc if you didn't throw your drive way off course this past fall. You found that disc, you started playing with it, became your favorite, and now look, hole-in-one with it. You know what? He's exactly right. And it got me thinking about some other things. Namely, detours are not dead ends. I took a detour that day when I threw that really bad drive into some brush. And then I found this disc, which was a nice win. But then that disc became something that I love to use and ultimately got a hole-in-one with. Right now in life, every one of us are going through a detour. Your family's been detoured, your job has been detoured, maybe your salary's been detoured, definitely churches have been detoured. Your eating habits have been detoured, your shopping habits have been detoured. There's a lot of detours going on in life right now, but the thing is, just because it's a detour doesn't mean it's a dead end. I believe that there's things that God is showing us right now, things that God has given you right now while on this detour. It's going to be your ace in the basket later down the road. Yesterday, I started a brand new sermon series called Reset, and we're looking at the life of Joseph. And I want to read to you some scripture that I read yesterday, and it speaks to this. This is Genesis chapter 50, verses 19 through 20. It says, but Joseph said to them, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Guys, we're all on a detour right now. And just like Joseph, we may end up at a place that we never saw coming. And we may have some new gifts, some new wisdom, some new life skills, some new perspective, and maybe some deeper relationships, namely with God. Things that will change our lives forever. We're on a detour, but it's not a dead end. What has God given you today? What has God given you during this detour in your life that you can go out and maybe one day throw that ace in the basket with?